names, forms, entities in the Jagat, which shine, which dance, all because of the presence of that Chit, that consciousness. Without that, everything is as good as dead, insentient. This is what we have seen. Now, the same thing on the micro level is going to be talked about. After having established this premise that all that is here, non-separate from Chit, non-separate from Ishvara, Brahman, consciousness. This is easy to see, perhaps, or I should say easier to assimilate than to look at the processes, the vrittis, the thought forms, etc. within one's own mind and apply those same principles. And that is where we are headed in the next couple of verses. Let us chant number 7. Rupadau gunadoshadi vikalpa buddhigah kriyah tah kriya vishayai sardham bhasayanti chitirmata Rupadau gunadoshadi vikalpa buddhigah kriyah tah kriya vishayai sardham bhasayanti chitirmata Rupadau, form, etc. What is this etc.? Very good. Yeah, this is how we have to start, what is that called? Vedantic associative thinking. Yeah. If you say Rupa, Nama should come. If you say Nama, Rupa should come. Very good. Wonderful. So, Rupadau, so the list which begins with Rupa, what does it have? Nama. So those two go along together. So Nama Rupa, then what else? Guna doshabhyam, guna doshadi. Guna, attributes. Here, not attributes per se as favorable attributes. Favorable qualities. Guna. And dosha, what is dosha? Flaws, fallacies, limitations. So guna and dosha adi, and adipadat, we also bring in the possibility that certain things in one need not evoke either a favorable impression or an unfavorable impression. Indeed, it is possible to be neutral. It is possible to be neutral towards something and even towards people in the beginning. After a while, not so much. As you get to know them, there will be either, gunaganam, you keep on singing their praises, or you keep on deriding their flaws. In the beginning, it is possible to be somewhat neutral. You have an open mind and you don't feel particularly either way about them. So Rupadau means, Rupadi means Nama, Guna Doshadi means the Guna, Dosha, and also the neutral feeling in between. That also we have to take. So what about all these things? These are Vikalpa. Vikalpa means what? They are divisions. Vikalpa is divisions. From kalp to construct. So there is a feeling of constructed divisions. Kritrimam, human-made divisions. These are all divisions. Okay, so what if we say they are all divisions, so what? Where do these divisions find their home? Where are these divisions associated with? Who is the author of these divisions? So these kriyaha, these activities through which the divisions are made, belong to or go along with the buddhi. Buddhigaha kriyaha. They ride on the buddhi. Buddhim adhikritya tishtanti. They ride on top of the buddhi, because if there was no buddhi, then these divisions will not be there. As we have seen in people who are in a permanently vegetative state. They don't have preferences, they don't have raga, they don't have dvesha. So now you see where this verse is getting to. You can see that very easily. So guna means the outpourings of the effects of raga. Raga means strong preferences, notions. Dosha is the effect of what? Dvesha. So this is all, these activities of making divisions, compartmentalizing this as nama, this as rupa, this as guna, this as dosha. The calling out, the naming ceremony. We do a lot of namakaranam from day to night. We host a lot of naming ceremonies in the head, in the buddhi. And so all these activities are connected to, associated with, dependent upon buddhi. Is buddhi satyam or mithya? Mithya. And so the activities and the divisions associated with the buddhi, also mithya. They cannot be satyam. Okay? In fact, it is mithya within mithya. Buddhi itself is mithya, Ishvara Srishti, and then in the buddhi we have Jiva Srishti, cooking, okay? Adding masala, stirring, bringing it to a boil, that is the anger, okay? Yeah, bringing it to a boil, all this is happening. Where? This is mithya within mithya. Jiva Srishti. So, then what? So this is nice to know, that they are, there is something relieving to say, okay, this belongs to the realm of the antakarna and the intellect. Oh, thank God, it has nothing to do with me. It's not about me. This is very nice. Then this is what is underscored in the next line. Taha kriya. These, these objects, these activities, vishayaihi sardham, very important. Sardham, along with. Along with what? Vishaya. Vishaya means objects. Here, the Acharya is reminding us of a very important, very salient point. What is that? The impressions that we recognize in the buddhi are more often than not connected to objects either outside or within. In fact, I am making that distinction outside within, macro, micro. It's all the same from the standpoint of the Shastra. So, without objects, you cannot have impressions. Very interesting. This is good. In order to say this is good or this is terrible, you have to have something there, right? Without an object, you can't have any kind of shooting practice. Yeah, You need a target, and that is what is called Vishaya. It comes from the root verb Vishinoti Badhnati iti Vishayaha. That which binds is the word for objects. See how wonderful Sanskrit is. In English, just objects. And what is objects? It's just a random, arbitrary word, objects. That which you objectify, perhaps, objects. But in Sanskrit, that which binds you to them, to your own pet peeves and notions, to the world of divisions, all these things. Vishinoti badhnati iti vishayaha. So here the Acharya reminds us that whenever one jumps up and down as a result of happiness, jumping up, jumping down because of sorrow, running all around in a frenzy, there is always a reason for it, and that reason is something that you can objectify. Don't just think of it as a thing. It could also be a notion. It could also be a principle. It could also be a belief. It could be an ideology. So many things. And therefore, this is very, very nice to understand. So, taha kriya, vishayaihi sardham, along with the objects. So, the activities and the objects which are tied to the activities. This is a codependent train of affairs, okay? Yeah. So first from this side if we take, there are objects. And then there is a buddhi attracted to the object or dispelling the object. And then there are activities in order to bring the object closer to oneself or to shun the object completely. These are the activities. And then the activities are there because the objects are there, and because the objects are there, one can have a favorable or unfavorable or neutral impression of them. Yes? And then there is the buddhi, marinating in its own light, chidabhasa. And then all of this is illumined by consciousness. From now on, the meaning of the word consciousness is aham. Okay? Why? Because I said so. And because that's where the teaching is headed. So the I am different from the buddhi, and whenever the word manaha buddhi is there, what do we take it as? We take it as the whole antahkarana. Manaha, buddhi, chittam, ahankara, all of them go together here. So whenever there is a rustling, like for example, how do you sense a wild animal in the forest? There is a rustling sound behind in the woods. So here the rustling sound is, oh, this is scary. Oh, this is wonderful. Oh, this is horrid. Oh, I'm okay with this, whatever it is. Either way, I'm okay. All these impressions, first the buddhi is manufacturing, and the buddhi in association with the ahankara that is dipped in ragadvesha is manufacturing. And that also comes to light. To who? To you. The objects also come to light because they are there, and you are the one calling their existence. They become evident to you. And then, with a little bit of difficulty, the buddhi and all the other, its friends, ahankara, manaha, chitta, all these things, they also become evident to you. Why with a little difficulty? Because sometimes it is enmeshed. There is an enmeshment and a wrong identification, because of which it is difficult to discern. But with more and more of these classes, this becomes very easily evident to you. The buddhi also becomes evident to you. And that's why there are notes one writes to oneself. Calm down. And then don't sweat the small stuff. Some positive affirmations. You are okay. So you write all these notes and put them on the mirror, put them, wherever you can see them every day, so that you get into the place of the Sakshi. Sakshi Chaitanya. That is, that is what makes this evident. And then, so all this becomes evident to the shining chiti. Bhasayanti chitihi. Bhasayanti here is not a verb and it's not a misprint there. It is intentionally a long E. Look at that. Look at the second last word. Bhasayanti chitihi. Okay? It is a present participle. And so, bhasayanti chitihi means the shining chiti. The intellect is also shining. The shining intellect shines because of the shining chiti. The chiti illumines the intellect, and it illumines the objects, and it illumines the various shenanigans of the intellect, the little fits it has, or the big fits of duality it reproduces. And all this is possible because of the shining chiti. If the shining chiti, the illumining consciousness, illumining here is not a verb, it is, and purposely it's not a verb, because even though, like for example, we say, the sun shines, the word shines here is not a verb. Technically, yes, it's a verb, but the shining is the nature of the sun. So the illumining, present continuous, all the time illumining, that's why it's the present participle, Shatru. So here, the present participle, all the time illumining consciousness, a consciousness that never even blinks, as we have seen earlier, this consciousness that's unchanging, always shining, ever present, and most importantly, unaffected by whatever it illumines. Whatever it brings to light, it is unaffected by. Just like on a sunny day, under one tree, let us say there is a Gita group, a group of people studying the Bhagavad Gita. A few yards away, under another tree, there is a group of people planning a robbery. Yeah, another group. Where will the sun shine the brightest? Everywhere. It illumines this unfavorable activity. It brings to light, and it also shines the light on the people studying the Bhagavad Gita. It is beyond this good, whatever we think of as good and bad. The idea of guna and dosha is very much individual, very much relative, very much a product of self-ignorance. Because when you say kama, there is raga and dvesha. The raga plus dvesha makes up kama. This is what kama is. So, therefore, this has to be understood really well, that raga, dvesha, towards what? You can't have raga, dvesha just hanging out like that. Raga, dvesha towards certain names and forms are all illumined by the ever-present consciousness. Are all illumined, uniformly illumined. And when we understand this, we understand Nachiketa's question in the Kathopanishad. It's a little warm here. So Nachiketa's question in the Kathopanishad is very interesting. He goes off, not willingly of course, to Lord Yama's abode, and there he wonders, why am I here? What am I doing? Yama is out of town, okay? Why? Because he's visiting Earth. You know why. Yeah. Pandemic is here, he's very much needed, alas, and so he's visiting the mortal realms. So 3 days and 3 nights, the boy and Mrs. Yama, her name is Yami, easy to remember. So, yeah, Mrs. Yama says, you're such a cute boy, what are you doing out there in the cold? Come, dinner is ready, come, eat. No, I have no business to do with you, mother. I have come for Lord Yama. I'm supposed to serve him, I don't know how, until he comes and tells me to come inside. I'm not coming inside. No. And Yama comes, and before even he can have a drink of water, Yami says, a terrible, a mistake has happened. 3 days, 3 nights, this boy has been standing out. And he is Atithi. Atithi means what? Tithihi navidyate yasya. The one who drops in without giving prior appointment. We have forgotten what that is. Yeah. We have no concept like that. Nobody drops in. Nobody drops in. Now even with appointment they say don't come. COVID is raging. Yeah, please don't come. But that's not how it was in India for a long time. Even now in the villages. And in those days no SMS, no cell phone, nothing. By the time the letter would reach saying we are coming, the person would already be at the door. The letter would come the next day. So then you are not allowed to ask the person, how long are you going to stay? No. But then you want to know, naturally. So you try to guess by looking at the suitcases. Is it a carry-on? Or is it check-in? Check-in means long stay. Carry-on means weekend. After that we can carry on and they can also carry on in their own lives. That's why it's called carry-on. And then, but then here also it offers no clue. So slightly bigger than a carry-on, but not as big as a check-in. Here also you don't know. But there are other ways of finding out. So you can strike up a conversation. Well, too bad you won't be staying for the daughter's graduation, which is a few months away, you can say, think. And the guest says, oh, I was planning on that. The heart sinks. Oh, I have to take care of these people till then. And then you say, well, surely you won't be there for the son's engagement, which is another 6 months from now. Oh, there is going to be an engagement? I didn't know. Oh, I will change my plans. No problem, I will come. This is Atithi, okay? And then what else do we know about Atithi? Atithi, Atithir Devo Bhava. Atithi is an incarnation of Bhagavan. That's how we got colonized. Yeah, to everyone that came, from Alexander not so great to not so great Britain, we kept on saying Ajao, Khajao, we kept on saying that. Atithi Devo Bhava. See, it has its, yeah. Probably that's what happened. So, this is Atithi. And so, the Atithi must not be dishonored at any cost. And here, Nachiketa spending 3 days and 3 nights is a great, dishonor, disrespect. And so Yama says, for every night I will give you a boon. Ask for a boon. The first two boons are because his father was angry with him, he wants everything to be okay. First boon. Second boon, he wants to know how to go to Brahmaloka. Waste of time, I tell you. Yeah, don't go there. Anyway, so the third boon is is something which is very beautifully, the third boon which he asks for is beautifully constructed and you see the emotional maturity and adhikaritvam, the desire and the fittingness for this knowledge, you see. Anyatra dharmad, anyatra adharmat, anyatra asmat, kritat, akritat, anyatra bhutacha, bhavyacha, yadi pashyasi tad vada. Beautiful. Anyatra means other than. Other than this run-of-the-mill concepts of good, dharma, bad, adharma. Tell me that. Don't tell me good and bad because I already know. In fact, one is caught in the realm of guna and dosha. These are all mental constructs. One is trapped in them. In fact, even at birth, one learns them. One learns to be afraid of certain things. One learns to hate certain things. Why? Because in our family, we have hated this other family for the last 400 years. So, this is our heirloom to you. You have to also hate them until for the next 400 years. So, this is, we learn this. These are all learned behaviors. So don't tell me about all this. Don't tell me what I like, what I don't like. Don't tell me what I think is good, which is again the realm of the relative. What is bad? Because what is bad? For a person who wants to get rid of a car, not selling the car is bad. For the person who wants to buy a car, this person selling the car is very good. So what is good or what is bad in that? It's all very, very relative. He says, I don't want the relative because this all comes in the realm of the relative. Good, bad, favorable, unfavorable, success, failure, love, hate. These are all dyads. Dyads means what? Dvaita. This is all Dvaita. And don't tell me something that is a product. Don't tell me something that is made, that is a product. Tell me something that is not a product, that doesn't have origin, that doesn't have a beginning, and of course does not have an end. Tell me that which is not bound by time. Anyatra bhutacha bhavyacha. And then the cha is repeated twice to also include the present. Don't give me things which are already in boxes, distinctions, past, present, future. All these things I'm not interested in. Yadi pashyasi, if you are, here it's yadi is yat pashyasi, that which you see, please tell tad vada. And Yama is, Yama's jaw drops all the way down to Martyaloka because he is flabbergasted. How can this small boy have so much maturity? And he goes on praising Nachiketa. Nachiketa says, enough of this praise. Please teach me this. And this is exactly the place one needs to be in order to assimilate this knowledge. Too soon, the vikalpas take over. And the vikalpas have a way of snowballing, burgeoning, growing and growing. First I like a few objects, and then I like other people who also like those objects. A support group is born. And then another support group, I hate these objects, but I like the people who also hate these objects. Then another group is born. This is where the entrapment is, because one is identifying with the objects, One is identifying with the impressions those objects create in the mind, whether they are favorable or unfavorable. And then one is identifying with the buddhi that is churning out these impressions. That is cranking out these impressions before it itself becomes cranky. This is where it is going to go. It's going to become cranky because this is all contrary to one's nature. And so, this has to be stopped in its tracks by recognizing punaha, repeatedly recognizing and walking the aham from the ahankara to the chit, repeatedly, to Brahman. This is what we are doing in this week-long retreat. We are taking hold of the I and disidentifying that from all the things with which it has become mired due to Atma Ajnanam, walking the I, repatriating the I back to this Chit. That is the whole idea. Bhasayanti chitihi mata. Yeah, one more thing I can say about this verse is that in the 4th chapter of the Panchadashikara, Swami Vidyaranya, the author, he gives a very interesting scenario, an ancient example. There is a diamond in the middle of the road. Manihi, some kind of a precious stone you can take. And then what? Two people on either side of the road, let us say, see it. They run as fast as their legs will carry them. One of them, a local Usain Bolt, of course, reaches the diamond first. He sprints and gets the diamond. The other one is a little slower and then just is trying to grab it, but it is too late. Diamond goes to person A. So, Hrishyati, Nrityati, the first one, throws up his fist, because, not hands, because fist, he's clutching on to the diamond and he is celebrating, jumping up in the air. And the other one is dejected and angry. Dejected and angry that he did not get the diamond and is very, very, very upset. Angry at the person who got it, jealous at the person who got it, upset. And then what? Then, this being ancient India, there are always sadhus roaming around, and a sadhu is going, he saw the whole thing. He saw the diamond, he saw the people fighting for the diamond, he saw one person who was the loser, one person who succeeded in getting the diamond. The victor and the loser both he saw, and then he just went along his way. He had a neutral response to the diamond and to all those things that happened with regard to the diamond. Whereas the same diamond in one caused an ecstatic response, in one made the other one miserable. The third one was completely asanga. And so, this is something which is important to know, because the happiness which is associated with the word guna and the sorrow, anger, envy, etc. associated with the word dosha are not associated with the objects. Because the same object at the same time can make one person happy and the other person sad. In fact, the same object at different times can make the same person unhappy one time and happy another time. And so, that is why it is called buddhigaha kriyaha. This is the connected with the buddhi, not with the objects. Objects are there to stimulate the buddhi into taking a position. Next one. Rupacha gunadoshabhyam vivikta kevala chitihi saivanuvartate rupa rasadinam vikalpane. It is just an extension of what we have studied here. Rupat cha gunadoshabhyam. Rupat cha, apart from the rupa, and here by extension nama is also included, apart from the rupa, nama rupa, and guna, apart from the guna and the dosha. The bhyam, dual, because guna and dosha, two things are there. So, rupat cha, fifth case, all of them. Rupat cha guna dosha bhyam cha, what? Vivikta is separate. What is separate? Kevala chitihi vivikta. Kevala means non-dually one. That is what, it's a very nice word, Kevala. Kaivalya Upanishad, there is one Upanishad, Kaivalya Upanishad. And that is made, that title is an abstract version of the word Kevala. Kevalasya bhava Kaivalya. So, this Kevala chitihi, this chiti that is non-dually one, is distinct from the name and form, distinct from the Vishayas, distinct from the impressions which the Vishayas evoke at any given point in time. Distinct from the favorable impressions evoked by the Vishayas, distinct from the unfavorable impressions, distinct also from the neutral impressions. Then what? In the next line, sa eva, sa, she, who is this she? Chitihi, feminine. This consciousness, consciousness is a she, now she is, yeah. Some other places it is neuter. Some other places, if you say Brahman, it is neuter. Chitihi, feminine. Atma, masculine. Why? So that we can keep jumping up and down trying to put consciousness in a box and not succeeding. This is exactly where the Shastra wants us to go, wants us to be. Because again we have the Vikalpa, masculine, feminine. We already have that in the head. And that is not to be entertained. And so therefore, this is, sa eva. And the Kathopanishad is also full of these kinds of what we call gender benders. Lots of gender benders on purpose. Because otherwise we'll think, okay, this is masculine. And so therefore what? I am a man. So this vidya is for me. Thoughts can come like that. And so to just, erase all of all such possibilities, all this is always, it's like there is a fluidity with regard to the choices. Even in the original text, in the Shruti also it is there. Purushat na param kinchit. There is a verse, mantra in the Kathopanishad. I don't know why Kathopanishad is coming so much, but let's enjoy it, that's all. So, the mantra in the Kathopanishad, Purushat na param kinchit. There is nothing greater or nothing more than the Purusha. And Purusha is masculine grammatically speaking. And then the next line, Sa kashtha, sa paragatihi. She is the way and she is the ultimate goal. Then you go, what? Let me read again. Did I read it correctly? That's exactly where this, where this guna, dosha, this kind of, nama, rupa, this is where this belongs. All these kinds of things have to get jumbled up. The Upanishad does that. The Upanishad purposely ruffles your understanding completely, rubs everything the wrong way, so that you are there. Somehow, you know how in comic books and cartoons, you have somebody who has been stunned like that with a hit, and then they are going like this, and that is when the Mahavakya works. Because you don't know if you're coming, you don't know if you're going, you are just there, right there in the present. No guna, no dosha, you just happen to be there. So the ahankara is just, boxed out of the picture. Because in all other forms of knowledge, we have the pramata, the knower, sitting there and then saying, I have this knowledge. This knowledge is mine, I got it. And like that teenager said to me, when I asked, how did you do in the exam? I killed it, Just like that. This catch and kill mentality doesn't work for Vedanta. But why do we still persist? Because that's the only mentality that we know with which to know other things. So these are the means of knowledge that we operate, and because of which it has held us in good stead. We have come to know everything as a result of this conquest mentality. So maybe we will come to know Vedanta also. It's an orientation that is extremely difficult to give up. Very, very difficult to give up. How to give that up? Because I am the one, I am the pramata. And in every other branch of knowledge, I don't have to give it up. Pujya Swamiji used to always give this example. The person, a professor of microbiology, teaching microbiology for 25 years, does not one day turn into a microbe or an insect. The students are wondering where the teacher is, and the teacher is somewhere on the floor. Here I am. I have become one with what I know. Not possible. Not possible. Anything you study, it is separate from you. And you can sit and crow over the fact that it is you got it. You are an expert in your field. You are the conqueror. But here, in Brahma Vidya, it conquers you. Yes. You are not the conqueror, because you as the conqueror, the pramata, has to be knocked off. It is a knowledge without the knower. We've been talking about this right from the start. And I think it'll start to get clearer and clearer as we proceed with the text, if it is not already clear. So Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. Bhavati within quotes again. Bhavati doesn't mean becomes. Is. The knower of Brahman is non-separate from Brahman, and the knower of Brahman therefore cannot say, I know Brahman. And we all know what happens when you say, I know Brahman. It would be wrong. Because you know Brahman how? As an object. And then the teacher in the Kathopanishad said, shut up, sit down, you don't know anything. So therefore, this is something to really appreciate, is that the Shruti works hard to get us out of the framework of guna, dosha, raga, dvesha, what else? Nama, rupa, all these categories. This categorical thinking of this belongs here, no, that belongs there, it's in the wrong place. People get actually disturbed if things are not in the right place. But for a student of Vedanta, this is a good kind of disturbance when age-old lifetime after lifetime, beliefs, categories, etc. are nicely jostled, so that one's heart is opened to see what is being shown. So here, Rupacha Gunadoshabhyam Vivikta Kevala Chitihi. This Chitihi, she is very different, very separate. The non-dually one Chiti is very separate from all the things that it illumines. Illumines, it means Sakshya. Illuminer, that is the Sakshi. But then, why is this so difficult to understand? Sa eva anuvartate. She alone goes along with what? Rupa rasadinam vikalpane. Vikalpane means these qualities and these changes, divisions, etc. Sa eva anuvartate. So, in the event of any kind of divisions, when confronted by the divisions, when of what? Rupa, rasa. Rupa, form, rasa, taste. And what kind of a group is this? What else? Fill in the blanks. Rupa, rasa, gandha. Gandha, smell, sparsha, touch, and then Shabda. Shabda, Rupa, Sparsha, Rasa, Gandha. Okay? Yeah. This is how it is, It's like those competitive exam questions. Hat, coat, umbrella, shoes, all of the things that go together. So, the vikalpa, the vikalpana, the vikalpanam means the divisions based on something which is an object of taste, something that is an object to touch, something like velvet, taste, chocolate cake, what else, so many things. And then something to see, a beautiful rainbow in the sky, the object of sight, something to hear, a wonderful concert, and something to smell, pakodas frying in the neighbor's house. Yeah. Why not in your house? Because that's no fun. In the neighbor's house, then it's fun, because you are intrigued. And then you decide to go borrow something just at that time. One can always hope. Yeah. So these divisions are there. These divisions are already there. And then the chitihi sa eva anuvartate. And earlier we had said chitihi, the illumining chiti, is the one that brings all these impressions, these divisions to light. Now we are saying, we are adding a curved ball here, and we are appreciating why these things, why my own internal machinations regarding my emotions, regarding my fears, regarding the objects and my relationship to those objects, why are they not any clearer? Because the chiti is a shape shifter, as it were. It takes on the very form of those things that it illumines. Why? Because, that's why the word kevala was used. Chiti cannot outsource and hire somebody else to one to be the object and the other to be the subject. It is the subject, the objects are non-separate from it. And simultaneously, it lights up the subject, it lights up the objects. Same chitihi. And how does it light up the object? Much like the crystal taking on the form of whatever it encounters, so too the chiti morphs into the very thing that it illumines, so to speak. Without undergoing any change, this consciousness takes on the form, as it were, of the object and also of the subject that is longingly looking at the object. Very, very nice. How to understand this better? We can look at this because the whole idea is to bring it within one's own thought forms. So there is a vikalpa, there is a thought, let us say. There is a vritti. And what is the vritti? This is a pot. So this is the vritti, this is a thought. I have a pot thought. The thought of the pot is a pot thought. I have a pot thought. And then in this pot thought, what is happening? There is the thinker, me, the subject. And then what else is there? The object, pot. Is that all that there is? No. What else is there? Consciousness, of course, is always there, but in this? Yeah, eyes are there. Means of knowledge, because how do I say this is pot? Correct? Means of knowledge. So here, in this statement, this is pot. So I have a thought of the pot. After seeing the pot, I have the thought of the pot. So there is a threefold vikalpa. Three things appear to be there. I, in the form of the thinker, the subject, the namer of this object called pot, the knower of this object called pot. And then what is pot? Then the next thing that is there is pot. What is pot? Pot is known, pot is object. Pot is diametrically different from the subject. Otherwise, the subject cannot say, I know object. So I know this pot. And then how can I claim to know this pot? I can claim to know this pot because I say, I saw this pot. So here there is the means of knowledge. Just as we saw earlier, that same chitihi, that same consciousness traveling through the eyes and bringing back information about pot crowns the ahankara as the knower of the pot. Right? And so who is the knower? The same chitihi is the knower. Then what is pot? Is that outside of chiti? No. That same chitihi manifests as the pot. Sa eva anuvartate ruparasadinam vikalpane. This is what is meant. But how to understand this? Because how to understand this, we can take an example of 3 waves in the ocean. Big wave, small wave, medium wave. Each wave is non-separate from the water. Each wave is non-separate from the water. Each wave arises from, is sustained by, and resolves into the ocean. Non-separate from the ocean, each wave. And then, from the standpoint of the ocean, did the ocean lose anything by morphing into, as it were, to the waves? No. Did the ocean become the waves? No. Ocean is ocean. Wave is also ocean. Wave non-separate from ocean. Same way here. That same chitihi, kevala chitihi, satchidananda chitihi, ananta chitihi, that limitless, all-pervasive consciousness lights up the mind to know the pot and to claim the status of being the knower. Lights up the object of consciousness and lights up also the means of knowing, eyes, ears, etc. Itself nameless, formless, This is how it operates. This is what we mean by sa eva anuvartate. She alone inheres. There is no thought without Chiti. There is no impression without Chiti. There is no object without Chiti. There is no subject without Chiti. Chiti is neither subject nor object nor means of knowledge. But neither subject nor object nor means of knowledge have a leg to stand on without the presence of Chiti. Very, very lovely. So therefore, in every thought, there is, now this is a slightly different way to understand this. In every thought, there is something variable and something invariable. What is variable in every thought? The object of the thought is variable. Now I look at this pot. Now I'm looking at the book. Now I'm looking at the pair of glasses. Now I'm looking at the mic. Now I look at the clock. Now I look at the door. All these objects are different, right? These are variable. Because one is not always cognizing one thing at all the time. That would make a person really dull and boring. So one is looking at different objects. One is in touch with so many things in the course of a minute, let alone a day. So many impressions flood the mind, each one separate. Those are all variable. There is something invariable in each thought, and that is Chiti, because of which the variable comes to light. And what is this Chiti? This Chiti is you. Oh, does that mean the Chiti is the thinker? No. Chiti is that which assumes the status of the thinker. Or we can put it differently. Chiti is that upon which the role of the thinker is, as it were, superimposed, aropita, as though superimposed. So Chiti free from being thinker completely dependent upon Chiti in order to be calling oneself as thinker. So the content of the thinker, Chiti. The content of the object of thought, Chiti. And the content of the means or the truth of that means of knowledge, Chiti. For it to be all these, it cannot be any one of them because it is limitless. Without undergoing any change. Swarupa, swaswarupa, aparityagena, rupantarapattihi. This is what is called. This is, vivartavada, vividham vartate. Vivartavada means the Vedantic way of looking at something where the Chiti does not undergo any change at all. Without undergoing any change, it morphs into, lends itself to appear as everything without being any one thing, without undergoing any change. Next one. Kshane kshanenyata bhuta dhi vikalpaschitirnatu mukta sutravad buddhi vikalpeshu chitistatha kshane kshanenyatha bhuta dhi vikalpaschitirnatu mukta susutravad buddhi विकल्पेषु चितिस्तथा। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।